In 1942, when the war was still only young, it had already killed more than 1 million people. Can you imagine that many people, all killed? I can't. My name's Peter, and I'm 10 years old. The war actually ended 60 years before I was born, so this is all a bit like what it was like then.
Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Bang, 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 goes the farmer's gun. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run.
It was the idea of reenactment which caused my mum and dad to bring me here. They said it would be history brought to life. This is me on the train, my first time on a steam train. I was enjoying myself, like everybody else. But a lot of them took it so seriously, all dressed up in their uniforms, even when they met at their headquarters in Sheffield to organise it all.
We are really doing more up at Wensleydale than we've ever done before. There's no question about that. We've got 2 dances, we've got a mass dinner, we've a church service, we've got Winston Churchill, we've got the banjo boys, we've got a pipe band, and I can go on, which is a lot more, isn't it, than we've ever done before. Are there any questions?
It's in BFM mag, that flyover, it's in BFM mag.
See him waving his arms about? That's Adolf Hitler. They said he started the war. You know, everything I've heard about wars has been horrible. Men being killed and everything. Just look at people's faces on telly today. You know, when soldiers are brought home after being killed in a war. Everybody's so upset. Well, it's just happened. But World War II was a long, long time ago, and it was worse, a lot more worse. So why do you want to remember something so absolutely awful from so long ago? And look, here's another funny thing. Lots of people went partying to start the weekend off. To remember something so bad.
Before dinner, he's going to have a few words.
This is a speech I made on the 11th of September 1940, when the country was on its knees after 3 months of the Battle of Britain. I was talking about the great air battle between our fighters and the German Air Force. This effort by the Luftwaffe to gain daylight supremacy of our airways.
Oh, he didn't like the Luftwaffe, did he? But it must have been scary, waiting for the Germans to drop bombs on us and maybe send soldiers into England. This was where the weekend began for them. But for me, it really started here with the steam engine. This is Leaning Bar Station in North Yorkshire. It started here for a lot more people too, especially the mayoress. Well, actually, she's a lady mayor from Labour, here for the occasion. Look, they've even dressed up for the train. Dad says this weekend will be a voyage of discovery for me. I hope so. I've never been on a steam train before, and it's brilliant. I've been waiting for weeks for this. But the engine was really noisy and steamy. Ha-ha! We're on our way. All the way up Wensleydale. Not everybody wore old clothes. Some might have done, but I'm only guessing from old pictures I've seen of people in the olden days. Here's the mayor again, having a good time by the looks. We're off to Leyburn now, and I'm ready to hear stories from the war days, especially from London. That's where the German planes bombed the houses in what they called the Blitz.
The most frightening thing was when the doodlebugs, one come down not far from us, and I was laying in bed, and the next thing I know, the picture frame come over my head, and it was nerve-wracking, but the worst thing was when you see all the flames, and everything was alight, fire and the smoke. It was really horrible, but you just lived and got through it.
When the school got bombed, John's sister used to sit at the desk in front of me. I never knew she'd got a brother, or if I didn't register. And if we'd have been at school that time, we wouldn't be here now, because it came down half an hour before the school. We actually went to school, so we were very lucky to be alive.
Well, I remember the first thing, the Blitz on Coventry, and joining the forces, being trained in Scotland, going over to Italy, fighting over there, and coming back safely.
I do remember when I was at school one day, we were doing an exam and a plane crashed, and we saw it come down in flames.
Yeah, 33 hours went over, 9 hours came back, and that's what makes it so horrible.
I knew people got killed in wars, but it's different when you hear it like this. I think I might be getting the idea about all this now. Well, a little bit. This is us coming into Leyburn Station. Time to check our tickets. Wait a second. They're not tickets. They're rail passes. Well, there's a war on, you know. There's a lot happening here this weekend. We're stopping for 10 minutes or so. So I'm going for a look around to stretch my legs. It's a lot quieter at the end of the platform. In fact, I'm thinking it's a bit too quiet. Something's happening. Where have you come from?
From the war days.
What? What's your name?
John, I'm 13, or I was when the war was on.
What do you want?
I want to tell you what life was like then.
I'm sorry, I've got to go now. The train's leaving in a minute. I must get back to the train. There's some people who want to tell me some more about the war, when they were children.
My father didn't have to go into the war because he was a farmer, but we had to plough the land up and grow wheat and oats and turnips and potatoes, so we had plenty of food really in that sense, not like so many people who lived in the towns.
We grow all our vegetables and tomatoes, and we sold them to the neighbours to make a few pennies so that we could buy meat and other things.
Sweets and clothing were rationed for quite a long time after the war, and I can remember some of the things that we used to have to take because food was short. Things like, some of you may remember Parish's food and Scotch emulsion and the various things we had to eat as children because food was short, so these things were important to keep us going as children.
I remember the Home Guard took over the school in the evening and in the night, and next morning they had to move out for the school pupils to come in.
We kept rabbits and we swapped them with the lady across who kept chickens, and we always had either a chicken stew or a rabbit stew, and that's how we survived the war.
We were told at school to never answer any questions to strangers, and if anyone said, "Is there an aerodrome near here?" That was Leaning Bow, you see, Leaning. We said, "No, no."
Okay, when I come back. Later on.
Not tickets this time. Something I've just learnt about. Identity cards. This man's checking down the whole length of the train to make sure there aren't any fifth columnists on board. That was what they called spies in those days. People you hadn't got to talk to. And there might even be escaped German prisoners as well.